Today I'm going to run a comprehensive set of Blender tests on my SGI Tezro in order to determine how the various settings in Blender affect the outcomes of the test. So I'm going to start Blender and quickly just set the system up in such a way that you can see the system performance as it renders. Open up test.blend. And then quickly set up the render panel in such a way that I can easily access all the settings. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the warm-up for the machine, and you'll see why now. I'm going to render with 4 threads, and the image is going to be split up into 4 parts by 4 parts. So I'm going to quickly hit to F12, and there she starts. And you'll see from the onset, with the first Blender test that you run, it only renders 1 square initially and then splits up into the 4 squares. So that's why I'm running this as a warm-up test first. Okay, this warm-up test was completed in 1 minute, 24 seconds and 77 split seconds. I'm going to conduct the same test again just to show you the difference once the initial warm-up test has been carried out. So it'll be exactly the same settings, 4 threads and the screen split up into 4 parts by 4 parts. And in this test you can see from the onset that all 4 threads are running from the get-go. So the test is almost completed, so let's see what the machine does for this test. Time to beat 1 minute and 24 seconds. Okay, so it now rendered in 1 minute and 11 seconds and 11 split seconds. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave the thread count at 4, and I'm now going to split the screen up into 8 by 8 to see what difference this makes to the render time. And again hit F12. Okay, so that frame was now rendered in 1 minute and 6 seconds and 74 split seconds. So splitting the screen up into smaller blocks definitely made a difference there. I'm now going to split it into 16 by 16, still with 4 threads, just to see the difference that it makes. And hit F12 again. Let's see what it does now. The one thing that is noticeable here, if you look at the system performance, is that not all CPUs are being fully exploited at this point. So that is one interesting thing to note here. Let's see how she performs that. Okay, so that actually slowed down. It now rendered at 1 minute and 25 seconds and 53 split seconds. So I'm now going to set it back to 4 by 4. Okay, so the screen is now back to 4 parts by 4 parts, and I'm now going to increase the thread count to 8. It will be 2 threads per CPU. So let's hit F12 and see how she renders now. Okay, so that was 1 minute and 8 seconds and 36 split seconds. So now what I'm going to do again is increase the blocks to 8 by 8. Hit F12 and see what happens now. Okay, so that was 1 minute and 5 seconds and 61 split seconds. So now I'm going to do the same as I did before. I'm going to split it into 16 by 16, now with 8 threads. Let's see what happens now. Okay, so that was again 1 minute and 5 seconds and 21 split seconds. Okay, so just for completeness, I'm just going to run the other test again. I'm going to set it back to 4 threads. Sorry, and run it at 16 by 16 and see what happens again. F12, let's see what it does. As you can see, with 4 threads, it appears the machine battles a bit. It doesn't seem to be able to make use of all 4 CPUs effectively if you're using 4 threads and dividing the screen up 16 by 16. So there definitely is a limit in terms of the number of blocks that you can divide the screen into versus the number of threads that you're using in terms of effectively making use of your machine. But the interesting thing to note there as well is the performance difference between 16 by 16 and 8 by 8 with 8 threads wasn't significant. Both render times were 1 minute and 5 seconds. Obviously there was a small little difference in split seconds, but the render time seemed to be pretty much exactly the same. Okay, so again it rendered in 1 minute 24 seconds and 65 split seconds. So that's pretty similar render time to what it did in the last time. So it's pretty consistent. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly, just for completeness again, just increase to 8 threads. Hit F12, see if it does it in 1 minute and 5. Okay, so I'm looking for around about 1 minute and 5 seconds here, in order to prove the consistency of these tests. Okay, again, 1 minute, 5 seconds and 44 split seconds. I'm going to see if I can't hit a sweet spot somewhere in between. I'm going to split it into 10 by 10, just for the last test. Okay, so I've got 8 threads, splitting it 10 by 10, to see if there isn't a sweet spot somewhere between 8 and 16. Okay, so again, 1 minute, 5 seconds and 69 split seconds. So I'd say pretty much in your 1 minute and 5 second range, that's about the best time that you're going to get from an SGI Tezro when running test.blend in Blender 2.45. I hope you enjoyed the video and thanks for watching.